everybody, I'm Tommy, and you are on the Lifeboat. Welcome. Hey, Gary Mackey. Mr. Mackey. Good to see you, Gary Mackey. Glad that you are here. Let's get this thing underway. I'm going to have to polish up these glasses a bit, and I'm sorry, I think I'm about a minute late, so I apologize. I was working on a watch. Lisa Trimble, there you are. Good to see you, Lisa Trimble. How are you? Iron Rabbit, good to have you here. This is going to be a video, folks, where we talk a little bit more about Voldemort and the crap show that's going on with his attorney. You know, for the longest time, people, especially on the big red button, people have been crucifying Tony Buzbee. Why? Well, he had this client, and she's full of crap, and that, you know, there's really been a lot of people that have been making a lot of stink about this girl who alleges that at 13 she was assaulted after the VMA, after the Video Music Awards. Now, I have been saying from Jump Street, this guy's no punk, right? I promise you, Tony Buzbee's no punk. I said, stick around. I promise you, this guy's going to go hard. He's not a clown. They're certainly treating him like one, but he is not. Hello, Craig Raff. Good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. Nice to say hello to you. Incarnasol, there you are. Leanne Bunton, good to see you. You made a live. How about that? Lori Hart, I'm glad that you are here. Chase the Heat, that's my brother, the Johnny Scoville. So, Buzbee is the attorney out of Houston, Texas. Got a tank on his lawn, and the way most people know him is he has brought several hundred, 130, I guess, so far. But allegedly, we're going to be looking at a couple of hundred lawsuits. He has taken thousands and thousands of calls. Really, this is the face of the, hello, Bill, this is the face of the civil part of this. It's always going to be Buzbee. And there is a fist fight going on currently between Buzbee's attorney and Spiro, who is the attorney, or Spyro, who is the attorney for Voldemort, he who shall not be named. You know who I'm talking about, people. Guy that's married to the witch, allegedly. He's married to a witch. You know who I'm talking about. They own more Grammys than anybody on planet Earth. Hello, Janet. Good to see you. Jason P. Welcome, my brother. Glad to see you. I was just telling somebody yesterday, it might have been Quibs. I am very much looking forward to seeing you and your better half again when we get to Albuquerque. I'm pretty fired up about that. I had a very good time there last year. And we will be traveling to Albuquerque this year, and I believe I'm bringing my girlfriend, so it's going to be my brother, and Quibs. It's going to be a family affair of sorts. At least that's the way it is looking. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it too. So let's touch base on what exactly is going on. I have said he's going to come back and he's going to fire back. And you know what he did, which really absolutely made me happy, huh? He did what I wanted him to do. He went and defended his client, right? He didn't attack Spyro. He said, you know what? No, this isn't going to fly. They want this emergency rule, and they want this to be thrown out before it ever has to go to court. Why? Well, because they said so, right? Because they said so, and because these are very spoiled individuals who are used to getting exactly what they want. It's not going to happen this time. Because you know what, people? This may not make sense to a lot of you, but this is how the court system is supposed to work. I say, you did this to me, right? You say, no, I didn't do this to you. But I stick to my guns and I say, yeah, you absolutely did do this to me. They know enough after all of the years of this being done to know that people like this Jane Doe make mistakes. They make mistakes because they're dealing with the worst trauma that they've ever dealt with in their life. And that would be times two, right? Because this happened with, allegedly, both Seans. Also allegedly, she was dosed up with gamma hydroxybutyrate and probably some booze. This was put into some kind of a drink. So getting the mixture of the two can be dangerous. Sorry to be old. But there's the like. Anyone? The like button. Where's the like button? Well, if you just sort of back out, you're going to see it. And then come right back, though, because we don't want to miss you. But if you back out, you will see the like button. Hey, Jazz. And I do appreciate you hitting that. Engagement is a beautiful thing, right? Came out that the girl is autistic. That is true. But I'll tell you something right now. If she's not autistic, but we believe the allegations, well, then you stand by her anyway until there's proof that it didn't happen. And I'll tell you something. Don't you find it odd? And a couple of people in the chat have talked about this. Do you not find it odd that she made a point of saying there was a woman in the room too? Why? Doesn't that seem like a very odd thing to add? If you're BSing, why bring up a second person? I mean, the woman in there, it seems so odd to me. Jaguar said heat is on Voldemort. So Spyro came out of the woodwork to take the heat off Voldemort. You know what? And I think that there's probably something to that. And outing Celebrity B, who we are starting to believe, I think, wholeheartedly is, right? I think we're all starting to believe that this is J-Lo, right? Bumblebee Seafood says it takes years to remember that type of abuse. And you know what? That's under the best of circumstances. We're talking about being drugged. And I've talked about this before. So if you're hearing this, I apologize if you've been down this road before. But what gamma hydroxybutyrate does is it takes certain chunks. Think of the night or the day that you are dosed up on this as a puzzle, right? What they do is they take about 15 or 20 pieces away from the puzzle. Those are just moments of the night that are going to be blacked out. Now, some of the moments that you're going to remember are going to be hypersensitive, where you're going to remember smells and tastes and sounds and images, things that are etched into your brain in a way that no other memory ever will be. Then they take all those memories, put it in the box, take the crap out of it, and dump it back out onto the table. And a lot of times, people will remember things out of sequence. Out of sequence. I heard a couple of people say today, and I heard Natasha say this, and it made me happy because I said it yesterday, and I know I'm going to catch crap for it. But I don't trust the autistic girl's father at all. Don't trust him. I don't. To hear a dad come out and go, "What?" My daughter said, "What?" Nah, I think I would have remembered that. Sounds like BS to me. I'd have remembered that. The way he did not back his daughter. If you're a parent, give me a deuce. Does that sound parental to you? That sounded to me like a guy that was doing everything he could to discredit his kid. Right? Yes. Sometimes with autism, it is a spectrum, and memory is often amazing, to be sure. But once you start to put in gamma hydroxybutyric acid, those memories start to get real dicey for everybody. Whether you have a ultra developed sense of memory, to the point of hyperthemsia, or you have a weak memory. Either way, you're going to be in deep trouble because of what GHB does inside the brain. And Carter says, no, not at all parental. No, it wasn't. It didn't make sense at all. It doesn't sound like a dad. Now, we know, allegedly, Buzbee has filed a lawsuit that says these guys are rolling around with cop badges, right? These are people that work for Voldemort, and allegedly they're rolling around with cop badges, and they're talking to people that used to use the Buzbee law firm, and they're trying to get them to file. And one of them, allegedly, offered $10,000. Now, this is in the filing, and they claim they got this proof. They got proof of this. They have proof of this, according to Buzbee. Now, if you think that they would go out and drop 10 grand on any random John Q. Public citizen that happened to hire this law firm, what do you think they would grease the skids of this girl's dad with? Is that far-fetched? I'm sorry, is it? Is it far-fetched? I don't think it is. Thank you. This is everybody else on planet Earth too. I'd be in jail over my daughter, regardless of being right or wrong. And you know what else you would do? Believe your kid. Believe your kid, right? I don't know what happened. Doesn't much make sense, but I'm going to be standing right next to my kid. Of course I believe her. Of course I believe her. Spanx Calhoun tomorrow tells me that an assault happened to him on Jupiter. I'm going to believe him and stand by him. Doesn't pass the smell test. Not from a dad standpoint. Now, let's admit this is a bad dad. Let's stipulate that this is a bad father. How's that? We'll stipulate to that. Not a good dad. But this is more than that to me. Maybe Voldemort paid off the dad to conveniently forget. Well, I'll be damned. Cooter by the lake. I'm going to have to agree with you. Hey, Cosmic Christie, I'm glad you're here. Pamela Morrow, good to see you. Tony Suter. What's up, Tony Suter? I personally, you're singing it with me? Fatty law, allegedly. I'm sitting here right now telling you that I would not put this past Voldemort and his henchmen. These guys allegedly are going around right now. Have you heard that there is a someone filing a lawsuit against Tony Buzbee? Why? Well, because he gave her VD. Met her online. They went out. He gave her VD. He knew he had it, but he passed it on anyway. And then he offered to work it out by saying, tell you what, how about if I give you some free legal advice and we'll just, we'll settle it up. What? This is the best you could come up with, right? You want to smut this guy up and you're going to say, what, he gave somebody the herpes? This is literally the best he could come up with? But odd, right? The timing of this. We're going to find out that these guys are doing a full court press, and I'll promise you something else. Why do you think I'm calling this cat Voldemort? Huh? Because there are people sitting in rooms waiting to see his name pop up. There are people in rooms doing everything they can to try to report this stuff and get it. He's got a full court press. He's got psyops. He's got, this is my opinion. This is just my opinion. Right? No amount of money could let me betray my family. I don't understand anyone willing to do that. Well, let's again stipulate to not father of the year material. Can we go with that? Not father of the year material. His 13-year-old daughter disappears for 5 hours, and he said, yeah, would I have known? Who knows? Maybe not. Maybe not. Do you remember when your kids were 13? Could they have disappeared for 5 hours without you knowing where they were? Uh-huh. Keep that real, people. I'm a dad. Guess what? Bank robber. Piece of crap. Not a good dad. Spanx Calhoun didn't disappear for 40 minutes that I didn't know where he was. And I wasn't a good person. This is, hey, Lisa Ann, good to have you here. Opinion. Yeah, this is, the entire thing is crap. The entire thing is crap. But I'll tell you something. They're fighting very dirty. You're damn right. Bill Herrera says, Buzbee is in a knife fight. He just dropped off another lawsuit on Diddy while fighting off our boy, the artist formerly known as Voldemort, right? The artist formerly known as Voldemort. No way in hell. No way in hell do you serve your kid up on a platter like that. There's no way in hell you allow somebody to talk crap about your kid, right? Just me being me says 5 minutes. Not 5 minutes. I know where my kid was. And I'd go postal. This guy, 5 hours, give or take. Did she call me? I don't remember. You know what I mean? I mean, there was a lot going on in my life at that time. Why don't you say what really was going on in your life at that time, right? Because those kind of, you kind of euphemistically, what you mean you were strung out on dope? I'm sorry, what does it mean? Because this is the kind of parenting that normally one has to get strung out on dope to pull off. Where your 13-year-old could go halfway across the state, 3/4 of the way across the state, and you wouldn't know about it. I watched my kid like a hawk, and I wasn't even a good person. Right? For real. This does not make sense. But I'll tell you something. If they think Buzbee's a punk, they should do a little research on him. I mean, we could pull out the look, Semper Fidelis and Semper Fi, and the guy's Marine. I back off nothing in any way. The Marines are some tough people. I've known plenty of them in my life, and they're some tough cats. It's a very rugged group of people. But aside from that, this guy is not afraid to go to court with BlackRock. This is not a guy that's afraid of anybody. He's not. And I think that he realizes that these guys, I'm sorry. But this gangster stuff, this isn't going to fly in court. They're going to get this crap smacked out of them. I promise you, this ain't going to fly. However, like a man, he came and said, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to defend this client. I'm going to defend my client. My client's not full of crap. He's heard this woman. He's talked to her. By the way, this woman said, I'll take a polygraph test. You heard that? I don't care about the details. What do you think of that? I'm sorry, I don't. That's what courts do. That's what juries do. That's when you get in there and you ask your witnesses and you do all that. What, you're some big music guy? You got a stink pile of Grammys in your closet, so we're going to skip that process? Yeah? We'll just knock it out before we even get there. Wow, that pesky court crap. What do you say we just call it? Why? Well, because I said so. There is precedent. This has been done. I mean, and litigated and relitigated as much as you possibly can. Right? As much as this can possibly be litigated. Details do not screw up a case. They don't. They assume that these kind of mistakes are made, especially when someone is 13 and it took place, 2 decades ago? Her memory should be perfect. She should be able to chronologically tell you exactly what happened, and her dad ought to back her up. Well, that would be nice. It really would. So her friend drove her 10 plus hours round trip just to drop her off. Taylor Miller, admittedly, I don't know. I can't answer you. I really can't. I'll tell you what I will do. It's just stick with where I'm going with this, right? This person has said in no uncertain terms that yes, indeedy, this happened to them. And until they prove otherwise in court, I'm going to assume that this person is telling the truth. And do you know why? Yes, because I have a penis, and for that reason, I'm always going to defer to a victim in one of these, especially if they're of the opposite sex. And I'm never going to say I don't believe you. I'll let the people take care of that. Is Diddy out of jail? Good God, no. Diddy's not going anywhere. He's going to be in jail for a long, long time, Nicole. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. But I'll tell you the other reason that I'm not going to do this, right? I've never walked a mile in this person's moccasins. I've had some pretty rugged things happen to me in my life, and I know that people can't necessarily they can't understand the things that I've gone through unless they've done them. And I don't know what these people are going through. I really don't. But her dad, that stinks. It doesn't make sense. And you know what makes even less sense? His reaction. What Voldemort is doing. This full court press. I don't know how close you're following this, but he'll post something up on social media and then immediately take it back down. Like he made some smart ass post about herpes and or some VD and what kind of low. Can you imagine? This is the attorney that blah blah blah. It's like it's a joke. He's just smutting this guy up as much as he can, hoping that this is going to do some good. And I agree. I think Spyro is probably going, crap. This is really a horrific thing to have to cover. Has the friend's parents come forward about the night their daughter either went missing or asked to drive 10 hours for a friend? Taylor Miller, as of yet, no. As of yet, we don't know any of these answers. But when the response to something, right? This is my humble opinion. When the response should be, I don't know, on a scale of 1 to 10, when the response should be a 2, and you come out with a 30, right? The way he freaked out, if he had just come out and said, you know what? This is ridiculous, right? I feel for anybody that has ever been through this kind of assault because it is the worst thing in the world. However, I had nothing to do with this. And more than likely, this is guilt by association because I do know Sean Combs really well. And we were really good friends. And at this point, I would like to distance myself from him because there are an awful lot of lawsuits, a little bit too much smoke there for there not to be any fire. If he did that kind of a statement and said, but I look forward to my day in court where I can prove that this never took place, we would have gone, okay, right? But that's not what he did. He went full on psycho, right? If we believe the allegations, and according to Buzbee, he's got proof of these allegations. What did he do? Well, he got a bunch of guys together with some badges, right? Fake badges, to go out and start hunting down girlfriends, employees, former clients of the Buzbee law firm so they can make Buzbee look stupid. This isn't what innocent people do. Am I wrong? If you think this is how innocent people defend themselves, if you agree with me, if this is a little bit, if we thinks he doth protest too much, give me a deuce. If you think this is what you would do, right? You had his money. This is how you would react. Give me a 3. I personally think this is over the top, way over the top. It makes no sense unless you're just really, really guilty. And the last thing you can afford if you're guilty, right, is to talk about them damn pesky issues, right? The last thing in the world you want to do is talk about those pesky issues like a 13-year-old who has accused you of this. Woofy, good to see you. I'll tell you. I don't think anybody should take for granted right now, right? We're all going, well, J-Lo probably paid to get her name out of this, yada, yada. And then Spyro, maybe that name was leaked intentionally to draw a little bit of heat off of, well, what if Celebrity B goes, you know what? Maybe I'll just cut a deal and get this over. Huh? What if Celebrity B goes, how about I just tell on both of them? I'm going to end up looking bad in this one way or the other. How about if I come out right now and say, I didn't do anything about it because I was terrified? I think the world might understand. Hey, if you're listening, you know who from the block? Tell the truth. Okay? Tell us what happened in that room. Way over the top. Never seen him act this way. It's going to crash out. This is not a sign of innocence. Thank you so much. This is not a sign of innocence. I think it's going to be really interesting, Taylor, to see how all of this plays out. There's a lot of people that need to be chased down. Unfortunately, we may be off. We may be off by a couple of years, right? We may be off by a couple of years. That's absolutely realistic. It could have happened. Has my trolling level went up like Sean's since these subjects? Yes. Yes, they have. They absolutely have. They are stepping up their attacks. Now, I can't say who, but we do not mention that kind of stuff around here. But absolutely. But they're always there. People, listen. This is a symbiotic relationship. They are remoras. You know what those are, right? Yeah. Sharks go around and they eat stuff, and the crap that flies out of their gills are then consumed by these fish called remoras that kind of attach themselves to the bottom of it, and that's how they survive. So if things are good, they're always around. I'd be really upset if they weren't, right? If they all dry up, it's probably because I'm not doing anything good in life. Yeah, this is kind of right, isn't it? This is kind of right, isn't it? But I always found out in my 57 years of being on this great God's earth, if somebody goes ballistic over something they're accused of, they're usually guilty. And I tend to believe that this is the case. I've seen this my whole life. When they come out over the top, and it just seems like they are doing everything within their power, right, to blow this into kind of proportions that are just insane levels, there's a reason for it. They can't talk about the issue. The issue's a 13-year-old girl. And maybe some other young girls. And maybe some other young boys, because according to them, not us, this is just one of many allegations that are going to be handled by the Buzbee law firm against Voldemort. That's what Voldemort said. His team said that. I'm not saying that. I'm repeating it. Yeah, around here, you never know. We got the best of the best. Dead Cell, good to see you. Hey, Kristen Melinda, how are you? Shout out to my wrenches because I got the best in the business. I really do. I really do. No, you know something? You wouldn't let this happen. And most parents sitting here talking, right? Most parents talking right now can go, never would have happened, because your kid never would have disappeared for 5 hours without you knowing where they are, right? This was not dad of the year material. I think dad was strung the hell out. Yeah, and I do think that, look, we know I did a show on this lawsuit, remember? In October, right? What's been happening since October? I promise you, before they filed that, he got a shot at settling it. Then they filed it to show him it was real, right? Think about this from Buzbee's. This is what he does for a living. That's how you would do it. You'd say, oh, trust and believe we're going to file this. We're going to file this. And they called the bluff and said, I doubt you really will. Then he filed it, right? Then they had to come back and file it again with Voldemort's name, right? How much time did he have between that filing and now? Think he could have got up to whatever part of the state that that cat might have lived in and said to him, hey, how'd you like to make a little money? Are you particularly tight with your kid? I have seen the video of DMX back in 2009 exposing Voldemort. I have. And I'll tell you, there were a lot of people back in the day that were doing that, for real. A lot of people have been on to both of these dudes for a long time. Lisa Trimble, thank you so much. Round here, folks, round here, we call that tossing out memberships like hot sauce packets. And it does turn quite a bit of people green, and I love that. There are always going to be contrarians, people with biased bots, etc. Yeah, there are, and they keep the world going around. They really do. I have no problem with them. I like blocking them as much as the next guy. Naz also had some real issues. And you know, when you start to study this, I didn't follow the music, peeps. I didn't. It's the crime that has fascinated me on this. It is not the music. And I'm old. I'm unhip, tragically, right? But it blows my mind the number of times that you read that so-and-so's enemy is sleeping with so-and-so's. There was so much this guy sleeping with this guy's girlfriend and this guy sleeping with that guy's, or having a kid by this. You know, you see the images of Suge Knight playing with, allegedly, right, Diddy's kid on the floor. Like, all of these things were done just that, right? All this weird cuck kind of behavior that goes on with all of these guys that's just so freaking bizarre to me. Superseding indictments predictions. I'm going to tell you right now, they're coming. They're not holding grand jury. The grand jury is not in session for grins. The grand jury is in session so that they can bring new charges, right? That's what a grand jury does. And you've heard it said a million times, right? A grand jury can indict anyone? Bueller? They can indict a ham sandwich. It is, however, a lot more difficult to convict a ham sandwich. The feds keep things close, right, to their chest. They do. Now, if you've been with me for any length of time, a lot of you people came over in the wave of Atwood, Sean Atwood shows, which is fantastic. But if you've been here long enough, then you rode through the lifeboat after they kicked the doors in on the Diddy raids, right? And it took, I'm not joking you, about 5 days before people started to reach out and say, hey, how come they're not arresting him? This is a scam. He's going to walk. You know that? He's going to walk. They're not going to wait. And I said, hey, take a deep breath. The feds are getting their ducks in a row, because when the feds indict you, the game is already over. I promise. I said this in the beginning, and I'll keep saying it. The rest that you're looking at, this is the show, right? This is the show. A lot of money are going to change hands. There are lawyers that are going to make a fortune, right? For real. Tons of money are going to change hands. There's going to be a big show. It's going to be our legal system on display for the world to, well, hear. They're not going to see it, right? But they're going to hear about it, because people are going to come out and tell you exactly what happened in there. KK and the Mule will for sure be in the next indictment. Yee, this is interesting. This is very interesting. However, I said to people then and there, they're going to absolutely charge this man, and they did, right? I said, Buzbee will come out and he'll make statements. Don't trip. Buzbee's going to fight. And he is, right? He's filing lawsuits and allegedly saying, I got proof that here's what they're doing. And if he has proof, then they're in a lot of trouble, because what they're doing is illegal, right? I do think we could end up seeing some similar raids. We're going to find out because once these warrants are sworn out and all that, it gets real easy to go to a judge and say, we'd like to go through all of his computers and all that. I would imagine that they got to be done. Right? If there's anything laying around, if Voldemort even has, right, a device in his house that he doesn't know everything on, he is an idiot, right? When they kick the door in, you're already guilty. There's a lot of truth to that. At least every time they kicked in my door, I was guilty. Never had them come, and I was innocent, and it was one of those messed up. Nah, every time they came, I was guilty. But 98.2%, right? Do YouTubers get credit for views if we step out, or you have to stay till the end? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. After about a minute or two, we get but what we want, obviously, is hopefully be engaging so that you stick around, because the longer you stick around, the happier we are, right? But no, just showing up, we'll get it done. Takes a minute or two. The Voldemort thing is cracking you up. Well, it is getting me paid, and that's kind of an important thing. I would bet you one of my 10 digits that Voldemort is on tape or on video or on a zip drive or on something along those lines. And I don't think Buzbee is without evidence on this cat. This over the top, right, response that we're seeing from Voldemort isn't because of this 13-year-old kid. I don't believe that. I don't. I think this is the first shot he had, right, at saying, we're going to fight you because he knows there's more. He knows there's more. And what did Buzbee say at the very beginning of this when he did the press conference? I covered it live with my friend Joel from Surviving the Survivor. We were there that morning. And he said, if you were in the room, right, if you're on tape sitting there and watching, he talked about people and he talked about video evidence and having video evidence. And you know what, man? Yeah, Buzbee has more. And he's playing a game of cat and mouse. And do you know why? Huh? Because what Voldemort's doing is what you do when you got a bad hand. You bluff. Right? I had a friend in prison, a gambling addict, man. All he did was play poker. And I'm not joking. Like, these guys would play poker 12 hours a day. There's nothing else to do in their life, right? All they do is play poker. And a lot of them are accomplished. These are really good poker players. I mean, you spend 20 years, 12 hours a day, you ought to get pretty good at it. And this old man, I watched him, he never lost. I said to him one day, hey, man, you got any rules on bluffing? Right? What can you tell me about bluffing? You've been doing this a long time. And he said, he goes, it's best to have it. I said, what? He goes, well, yeah, bluffing's just fine, but it's better to have it, like to actually have the cards. And I said, well, of course it is. But what happens when you don't have the cards? He goes, you fold. I go, so you don't ever bluff, man. Never, right? You don't ever bluff. He goes, well, it's better to have it. He just kept repeating it over and over again. And I will say to Voldemort, it's better to have it. And he doesn't. He doesn't. They're BSing. What they're doing right now is bluffing because they don't have a hand. It's just simply that easy, right? You got to bluff if you got nothing. He's causing them to do stupid things, Ann Brown. Buzbee knows what he's doing. Keep quiet because the head in and forces their hand. He's forcing them to do stupid things. Do I think extradition countries would take Voldemort? Well, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. There really are not that many countries. You'd be very surprised at the number of countries that will actually hook you up and go, yeah, you know what? You can come and hide here and we're going to protect you and make sure that nobody ever gets in here to get you. It's a rare, rare, rare country. Allegedly, Vietnam is that way. And I kind of guess that makes sense, right? I don't imagine Vietnam's really stoked to see a bunch of American boys back on their soil, right? Didn't work out very well last time. North Korea, probably another good guess of some place that you could go. Sammy Australia says, don't bring him here. We've been discussing that. Not trying to be a jerk, but we have thought about maybe sending him off to Perth. You let us know. Hopefully you're not from Perth. Right? Your gin rummy people talk the same way. It's best to have it, man. It is always best to have it. Username, Tommy. That time of night, declare your what? Oh yeah, we don't. That's dangerous around here, man. That's the kind of stuff that makes them bury your. I can't even say that V word. I'm afraid of it. I'm afraid of it. I'm telling you. Yeah, people are starting to realize that this guy's a heavyweight, and I'll tell you what. Once again, I would like to kind of do this, right, and do my shocked Home Alone face. Yeah, I'm not shocked. This guy's no punk. Couple of shows back, a guy came in the chat and said, oh, see, he's going to have around to find out. Now he's dealing with some gangsters, this and that. Oh, no, I believe that. I absolutely believe. Voldemort and his henchmen, these guys are gangsters. I do believe that. And I do believe they're pulling some gangster stuff. They're going to try to scare this man. However, this is not a guy you're going to scare. And he has dealt with people that are a hell of a lot tougher than the people that are going hard now, right? For real. This is very much a guy that's used to fist fights. You do realize he dropped, what did they say, $600,000 or something on that tank. And then he had to ship it to the US. This isn't, I've paid $600 and $700 to ship watches from Europe, right? You have any idea what it must have cost to ship this is a guy that'll urinate money away because he thinks it's funny. This is a guy that's made a fortune for himself. He's been very, very successful, man. He's a Marine. That's worse than their gangster side. Well, I have a lot of respect for the Marines, to be sure. Gina Tracy, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. He was hired by the Attorney General of Texas to represent him in an impeachment trial. This ain't no punk. Now, they're out there and they're doing what they're doing, right? They're doing we'll get some fake badges. We'll try to smut up Buzbee. Buzbee's not biting, right? I had a friend in prison, was one of the funniest guys ever. And people would come up and they've always got something to bitch about, right? They just got mail. They found out that their appeal got turned down or whatever, and they'll come up and walk and go, man, I'm so mad right now. I'd like to kill somebody, man. And my friend would go, don't engage. Don't do it. Don't bite. And he'd say it in front of them, don't bite. Don't engage. He's not going to engage with these people. He's not going to let them pull him into this. Why? Because he's got it. He's got it. Ain't no reason to bluff. No reason to do any of that. He comes out and goes, oh, would you like to pay people $10,000 to get them to try to say I'm a bad attorney or that I pulled my junk out in the office or whatever it is you're trying to get these people to say? You're on a recording, busted doing it. This is what is alleged. And he went and filed on it. It says in that filing, the 10,000, right? The badges, all of this stuff is in that. It's pretty rugged stuff, peeps, and I'm excited about it. Thank you again, Gina. They're bringing up a DUI photo from 2016. Hey, I may have a booking photo out there somewhere. Not going to lie to you, I've been arrested a couple of times. Say 30 or 40, maybe 50 times. Who cares? This is in the past, right? It's a DWI. Right? It wasn't even a felonious DWI. So he got behind the wheel after drinking some. He shouldn't have. It's a dumb thing to do. I don't respect it, right? Feel free to crap on him for it. But what does it have to do with the subject at hand? Right? Saw Tommy and Miss Reese. Thank God for the crew. Johnny and Tommy on my own. Fighting panic attack. Really grateful. Well, Jennifer, I'm glad that you're here. Please stick around, especially if you're having a panic attack. Take really deep breaths. All right? And a lot of times I find that if I stop staring at the same four walls and I get all of my senses engaged as an addict, when I feel like I can, that feeling of I need to change the way I feel right now, I'm uncomfortable in my own skin. When that starts to roll, I get up, I walk outside, I go for a walk, even if it's only a couple of minutes, right? Now you see different stuff, you smell different stuff, you feel the wind on your skin, and we can't have two thoughts running at the same time. You may think you can, but you can't. So if you can change those thoughts, you're probably going to start feeling better. Tommy, I work in a recovery center and refer to your lifeboat to the clients for proof of recovery. Oh, Gina, what a nice thing to say. By the way, we have gone past 1,000 letters from my friend. Absolutely blown away. The attorneys are jaws dropped open. The attorney that volunteered, great lady, but the one that volunteered because after reading, she was handling my appeal to get me off paper. When she read that Q, she goes, he's never had a write-up. I said, I swear to God. She goes, I'd like to see that. Would you mind giving me his number? I said, no, I'll give you his number. And she said, I will volunteer my time to try to help him get out. That's one of the people that we're not paying. We have to pay the firm and there's some stuff, but we're not paying her. It's a volunteer basis, which I think is amazing. But she said, I once did this and there were almost 100 letters and the judge was speechless. Well, we're going to end up with probably 1,100 or more. So pretty fired up about it. And I appreciate all of you. You did that. Right. I just came on here and said, please, but you all did that. And it's amazing. It really is amazing. Smear campaigns don't work. They really don't, unless we all buy into it. And I think what's really funny is if this was left to the people upstairs, you know what I'm talking about, right? NBC, CBS, Fox, right? The CNN, all of these. If we leave it to them, the narrative's going to be a lot different. The narrative's going to be a lot different. But when we come down here, right? When we come down here, we do it differently. Social media does it different. We start pulling stuff apart. We start saying, yeah, that one doesn't make sense. I'm not buying that, right? This smells bad. We chase stuff down. And it's amazing because more often than not, I promise you, people sitting at home watching CNN go, nah, I think you're wrong on that, and they're talking to the TV and it's doing no good. Around here, the number of you who have absolutely changed the direction that I take in researching this stuff, or changed the direction or how I view certain things about cases that come directly from you. The one that I always use as an example, because everybody is familiar with this, but we all watched in horror as Sean Puffy Combs beat his former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, on tape, right? Most disgusting thing you ever. It's heart-wrenching, right? It really is. It's heart-wrenching. All of us witnessed that, right? Once you have, we don't need anybody to tell us anything anymore, right? The narrative's out the window. A picture's worth 1,000 words. Somebody in my chat said, how did he do that without losing his towel? Seriously. This guy beat the crap out of her in a hallway, kicked her, punched her, threw a vase at her, all of these things that he did without losing a towel. And it may sound funny or not funny, haha, but odd, or an odd thing to point out. But what it means is this dude's a pro. You got any idea how many times he's done this? He's so good at beating on this girl without it even I can do it without losing my towel. Running down a hallway. The video is horrible. But these are the kind of things that happen in social media, right? People back stuff up. They slow things down. You see something, I can't tell you the number of people who have reached out to me. We're doing some stuff on this Royal Order of Jesters. The number of their courts that I have now chased down finances on. We're going to be able to tell you how much money that they're ripping off. We're going to be able to tell you how much they're not paying tax on. And it's not, with everything I got going on, we're doing Diddy, we're doing all, you all do so much research for the Lifeboat and so much research for me. It's amazing. And the people that send stuff to it, and we're not the audience that watches CNN, right? Or Fox. This is a group of thinkers, right? People eventually will see through the smear campaign. I agree. Everybody here already has. Right? Perfect timing, because that's honestly what I'm saying. Praying this is the tip of the iceberg on taking down the, it's going to be. It's going to be. And it's going to start right here, people. I promise you. It's going to start right here on the big red button. It's going to start on social media, right? This is the year. 2025 is the year. He is worse than Diddy, according to Jag. He absolutely is. Gypsy Soul, thank you so much. The hot sauce packets are flying. Tired of my taxes going to nefarious activities. Joe Mama, thank you. I think everybody is, right? Well said. You're so welcome, Gypsy Soul. Thank you for being here. You all, hey, the holidays are tough on me. I get as much out of these as you all do. I promise you, it's so important. It really is. It's so important. Connection is the opposite of addiction, and it's the opposite of everything else bad too. Jaguar said publicly that Voldemort is worse than Diddy. Why has he not sued Jaguar? Now, I'm going to play the devil's advocate on this. You guys know how I feel about Jag. She knows how I feel about her. But here's what people are saying, right? They say stuff like, they'll go after Piers Morgan because they know how deep the guy's pockets are. A guy said in a quote, you don't go after people that got nothing. Now, that's not been my experience at all. I'm just telling you this devil's advocate stuff, but that's not been my experience at all. Hello, Tilly. Normally, they will go after you just so that they can say they won. They don't care about finances. They don't care about you defaulting. They don't care about any of that. They want to go in there and be able to say, he's full of it. I sued for defamation and I won. It's got nothing to do with the fact that they don't think she's worth $100 million. So why bother sue? That's BS. It's never been the way it is. Never been the way it is. Because it isn't about the money. These guys are made of money. It's about shutting her up, right? It's about getting her to stop saying that he's worse than the diddler, with the exception of the fact that maybe he's a little smarter and a little more patience, right? So he's literally way worse. You heard Jag was sued? I have not, and I'll be honest, I think I would have. Honestly, I think I would have. Not because the two of us kick it toughly, but she certainly does kick it toughly with people that I know, right? We are going to see. Haven't trusted the BBC ever since Seville. Well, I don't blame you. I don't blame you, man. KP, you just absolutely made my day. KP says, this is one of the very few channels I will watch after this whole Diddy stuff comes to pass. I love that. And some it just started watching for the Diddy stuff. Honestly, the people are all awesome and help people. You know what? Here it is. If you're brand new to the lifeboat and you can't understand why people are sticking around for me, there's your answer right there. There's your answer. This really is an amazing group of people and always has been. From day one, we've been blessed to be held the Charlie Mullinses and those people that came right in the beginning that just stuck around and didn't miss shows. Because for a good year and a half, we did this for 15 people a show. And if I always joke, if 4 of them had decided to skip the same day, I probably would have quit. But honestly, it's just such a great group of people. Buzzbomb, $750 lawsuit against Travis Scott Live Nation settled in May. He's #1 lead trial attorney. He also had a fundraiser for Trump and donated $500,000. Smart guy to have Trump. You know, I am absolutely impressed with this guy as an attorney. Now, feel free to hate him. I know a lot of people are going to dislike him because this type of law frustrates people on all sides, which is stupid, right? Let's go with this what we're arguing about right now. We have a 13-year-old girl, right, at the time of the incident, and she is suing these 2 individuals, and there's a third person who is rich and famous in there, right? Now, allegedly, most people are saying that the third person already settled. Now, I know that there are people who will say to you, oh, they'll settle even if they weren't there. And that may be the truth. I have nothing but money, and you could just toss a little bit of cash at somebody to get them to go to waste so you wouldn't have to deal with it. Maybe that's the truth, huh? Maybe that happens. I don't know. But if that star settled to me as an observer on the sideline, you know what I think? Hello, Brenda. I'm glad you're here. You know what I think? I think that person saw it. I think that person saw exactly what this 15-year-old alleged went on. I'm sorry. If it's me, wouldn't you just go, no, I was there. I was that third person. It didn't happen. This is ridiculous. Now you got 3 against 1. Instead, allegedly, one of them decided to pay it off. Well, isn't that peculiar? Hardly anything on the UK news. Crazy. Also, the court dates on Trump's inauguration. Yes, the court dates are on. They should still be accountable, says Woofy. I agree with you. I don't think a person should be able to buy their way out of this, especially if it sits within the statutes of limitations. A lot of the stuff that we're going to be hearing about people is going to be well within statutes of limitations. You know, I know that there's all of these older cases that are moving their way through the system. And there, you know, here's a girl from the 2000 VMAs, 24, 25 years ago, right? Quarter of a century, long time. Everything that happened in that Little Rod lawsuit happened in the last couple of years. All of those people should be subjected to criminal procedure, right? Or the third is a witness, says H. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, the third is I believe the third is a witness, and a third is a witness that doesn't want to be, that doesn't want their name getting out. Well, I don't know. Let's say hypothetically, you're a singer, dancer. You own a perfume brand and a clothing line. Maybe you sell some jewelry. Let's say you're worth, I don't know, $500 million. Granted, you might throw out $10 million to keep your name out of it. Sadly, J-Lo, your name ain't going to get kept out of it anymore. So maybe it should be time to step up to the plate and say, yeah, I was there. Let me tell you what happened. Right? Just in case she watches the lifeboat, because you know so many of the rich and famous do. Why did V's lawyer mention J-Lo? Well, there's a lot of benefit to people talking about somebody other than Voldemort. If you're his attorney, I would imagine that you would like everybody to shut up when it comes to your client, right? It's a nightmare that that's all they're talking about. Your job, as much as anything else. Look, I don't think he hired his attorney to represent him in court. Now, maybe that sounds cynical, but it sounds to me like he hired them to represent them in the court of public opinion. That's what it sounds like to me. You think I'm wrong? Jenny on the block. Jenny from the cell block. Hey, at the end of the last millennium, while you were getting ready to wonder whether or not Y2K was going to be an issue, she was running 12 red lights and tossing a pew-pew out the window of a car. Allegedly. Is that squirrel nut zipper that you see? I don't know. I can hear her crunching. Come here. What you doing, kitty? What do you say, squirrel nut? Get in the basket. Oh, she's going to be one of those. She's on a mood. I blame my brother. He's always telling her jokes, taking her outside. If you haven't seen Johnny telling the cat jokes, it's one of the funniest things ever. Ever. Well, in 2000, the girlfriend was Rosario Dawson. Well, Rosario Dawson is one of about 4 girls he dated in the year 2000, allegedly. He was sort of getting around at that time. People, there's a good chance I'm going to see you later tonight. However, at this moment, I am backing out of the boat, and I'll tell you why. Because at this exact moment, they are locking and loading things at the Face the Heat headquarters of the Burn Central. I did want to make sure that we popped on here and talked about this because we're going to be seeing more and more of it, and I don't want to be behind with it. Yeah, Queen Bee is going to distance herself, and why shouldn't she? Allegedly. Thank you, Sammy. Appreciate you. Appreciate it. So do yourself a favor and get over there and watch the Johnny Scoville. He's going to be live, sitting almost exactly in this seat in about, 2 minutes? Well, there he is.
Thank you.
All right, people, between now and the next time I see you, do me a favor, reach out and try to save somebody. I am Tommy, and the cat is not in the basket. Say something, squirrel. Nah. Talk to you later. You little snot.